Okay, to begin our topic of economics, we have to take a look at two specific terms that are going to haunt us for the next couple of weeks. And these terms are simply scarcity and choice. Scarcity and choice is the basic foundation of economics. And to better understand scarcity and choice, what we want to take a look at is what we call the economizing problem. Now, the economizing problem has two arguments to it. The first argument says that we as humans have wants, and these wants are insatiable, meaning that they can never be satisfied. We always want more. We want the first car, then all of a sudden we want another car, we want a larger house, we want the Blu-ray DVD player as opposed to the simple DVD player, or even the VCR if you want to go back that far. We desire these wants, we want these wants, because they provide us with a certain degree of utility. Now, in economic circles, utility represents the degree of enjoyment, the degree of reward, the degree of satisfaction that you get out of consuming a particular good or service. When you go out to a restaurant and you order a $30 meal and you think, gee, that was great, it was well worth $50 if I would have paid for it. Sometimes you go to a movie and you come out after you spent $10 or $12 on a movie and you think, it was okay, but I kind of wish I would have waited, because the utility, the degree of happiness that I got out of it wasn't as great as I expected it to be. Now, these wants that we get come to us from goods and services, and that's how we get our utility. The second argument of our economizing problem, which again reinforces our topic of scarcity and choice, is that the resources that produce these goods and services are limited. They're fixed. We can't get as many of them as we want, and therefore this creates the scarcity. And because of that, we have to make choices. We want as much as we can possibly have, as much as we can possibly get. However, the thing is we can't have all we want, because the resources that produce these goods and services are limited. And because of that, we have to make choices. Because of this, we have to make choices. Regardless where you are, what country you're in, you have the same idea of scarcity and choice. In some third world countries, perhaps in Asia, perhaps in Africa, their scarcity and choice exists on a very low level. Do I have enough to eat tomorrow? In the United States, we really don't have that problem, or at least it's not as prevalent as it is in some of those countries. Our scarcity and choice might mean, do I have enough money to be able to go to a show and buy the economics book that I have to buy? So regardless of who you are, whether it's Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, or yourself, we always have the idea of scarcity and choice. And again, that can be best amplified in the economizing problem. That we have wants, and these wants are insatiable. We want as much as we can possibly get. However, we can't have as much as we want, because the resources that are used to produce these particular goods and services are limited. To that end, we have two different types of economics that we need to talk about. The first type is microeconomics. Microeconomics is the term micro comes from Greek, which means small. And basically what that is that we're taking a very microscopic look at the economy. What we're concerned with here is not necessarily the overall price level. We're not concerned with the overall unemployment rate. What we want to know is what makes you buy a particular book, what makes you buy a particular pair of pants, what makes you buy a particular pair of earrings. We want to take a look at why Coca-Cola raised its prices, why Calvin Klein laid off 1,500 people, or Ford Motor Company closed its plant in Texas or some other plant. So therefore, we want to take a very microscopic look at the economy and see how that affects us as individuals. The term macroeconomics, for those of you photography buffs, Macro is a large setting on a camera or on a video camera, and it allows you to blow up and take a look at all the details that are specific within that particular subject. And therefore, macroeconomics means large, and therefore we're taking a much larger look at the economy. What we want to take a look at here is not why Coke or Ford or Pepsi laid off people. What we want to take a look at is why everybody is laying off, or why business is bad, why what we call our business cycle, which we'll take a look at in a couple of weeks, is not as good as it could be. We want to take a look at the overall level of prices, which we call the average price level. We're not interested in why Ford costs $24,000. We want to take a look at the average price level. Our real problem with economics is that in the terms that we use, and we basically have two different types of economic statements. We have a positive economic statement, which states a fact. It is 9/26 today, May the 2nd. That is a fact that is irrefutable. You cannot take offense at that. It either is that time, I can't remember what it said. It is that time and date, or it isn't that time and date. There's no open areas. A normative statement is a statement that has a bias, that has a prejudice, or that has an opinion approach to it. The government, the Congress is injecting $10 billion into our system and should make the economy better. The first part of that is a positive economic statement. The government is injecting $10 billion into our system. It's either true or it's not true. That's it. There's no way that you can take offense at that. And it should do well by the economy. Well, that's where the problem comes in at, and that's what makes it normative. That's what puts the bias to it. That's what puts the opinion or the prejudice to it. Is it good? We don't know. It will be good because it could conceivably create jobs. It could be bad in that eventually inflation might happen. So the positive economic statement that we have up here is one of pure fact. It's either true or it isn't true. The normative economic statement that we have is one that has a bias, and that's where we come across a lot of different opinions and a lot of arguments with different economists on whether something should be done or not.